Hi, this is Michael Jagdeo, Director of Recruitment Services at BWise Solutions in Toronto. Every candidate that we present to a client receives an interviewing coaching session, which gives them insight on how to put their best foot forward during an interview. The agenda for this training session will have 3 parts. 1. I will tell you the origins of this training tool. Part 2. I will describe the behavior principle that guides every manager's hiring decision. And finally, I will teach you how to use examples and the STAR methodology to answer questions better than your competition. Let's get started. Part 1. The origins of this training tool. Before joining BWise, I was a headhunter. That meant I placed executives in Hong Kong, Dubai, the UK, and across North America. When I started, I realized that although a candidate was a vice president, he or she wasn't necessarily a vice president of interviewing. By that I mean they could do their job well, but that didn't mean they also had the skills to talk about their achievements effectively. There are best practices when it comes to interviewing, and that's why you're listening to this training course. Part 2. The Behavior Principle. The behavior principle states the following. What we've done yesterday, last month, and last year is what we will most likely do tomorrow, next month, and next year. I repeat. What we've done yesterday, last month, and last year is what we will most likely do tomorrow, next month, and next year. Therefore, whether managers realize it or not, they compare how you've acted in the past to how they'd like you to act in the future. If the actions are consistent, they have a good candidate. However, if your previous behaviors do not match how they want you to act in their department in the future, you will not be viewed as a good candidate. Part 3. Examples and the STAR methodology. Given the behavior principle, we must, as interviewees, show explicitly how we've acted in the past. We do this using 2 constructs. First, examples. The more you show, through examples, how you've acted in the past, the clearer your knowledge, skills, and abilities will be to the hiring manager. Simply put, if I'm applying to be a manager at Tim Hortons and spend the interview citing specific examples where I've managed different restaurants, I will show how my previous behaviors will help me be a good Tim Hortons manager. Second, once you have your example, you need to put it in a format that helps your interviewer understand it clearly. Keep in mind that at any given time, you may be speaking to a technical, functional, or HR representative. Each group will have a different background and may not understand your answer if you're not absolutely clear. Therefore, let's walk through the STAR, the STAR methodology of answering behavioral-based questions. Imagine you got a client that said, "Tell me about a time you had an irate customer or client group, and tell me how you handled it." Okay? So, first, you start with situation. That's step 1. In situation, you describe the company you're working for, what the company does, what department you were in, and your general responsibility in your role. This is important because it provides context for the interviewers. It will help he or she or them picture your example in their head. Step 2. After situation, we move to task. In task, you describe what needed to be done or accomplished. After situation and task, we have step 3, which is action. Action is the most important part of your answer. Remember that the behavioral principle states that the manager will look towards your previous actions for insight on how you'll act in their department in the future. Therefore, it is crucial that you provide a detailed account, step by step, of what you had to do in that scenario to complete the task. Step 4, after situation, task, and action, we have result. Finally, result is where you state that your behaviors helped you complete the task at hand successfully. Situation, task, action, result. These are the crucial steps that you must undertake when answering questions to beat out your competition. I will now give you an example of the STAR method of answering behavioral-based questions in action. Imagine someone asks you, "Tell me about a time that you had an irate client." Here's how to use the STAR methodology to respond successfully. Remember, we go situation, task, action, and then result. Question: tell me about a time you had an irate client. Answer: I'll tell you about a time when I was working at North American Search Group, which is a headhunting company that searches for and places high-paid insurance executives globally in vice president and C-level positions. My role there was an actuarial recruiter, which meant that I was handling searching for candidates, presenting them to the appropriate clientele, arranging interviews, and helping them negotiate salary when the time came. On one occasion, I had an HR representative get upset when a candidate of mine backed out of a job offer that he verbally accepted. She thought that the candidate leveraged the offer to get something better elsewhere. The first thing I did was listen to her complaint. I find it very effective to let people that are upset vent their anger entirely. After that, I apologized on behalf of my candidate for backing out of the verbal offer, and recognized the hardship that she would incur because of it. Finally, after letting her vent a little more, I steered the conversation towards an action plan that I would personally carry out to find a suitable replacement as soon as possible. In the end, while she was still irked that the candidate backed out, my client was able to vent her anger and, in the end, present her stakeholders with an action plan to recover from the unforeseen delay in hiring. So there we have it. Using examples and the STR methodology will help you put your best foot forward during interviews. I want to thank you for your time and good luck. This has been Michael Jagdale, Director of Recruitment Services for BWise Solutions.